Hello and welcome to the show. Today I am on automation, going to be looking at the Unreal Engine update. Now this came out a while ago. I did, probably a couple of weeks ago, try to make a video on this game. It had a few issues with crashing after recording a fair bit, and I got very frustrated, gave up and forgot about it for a little while. This Unreal update, if you like, is still very much in the early stages of beta, so perhaps to be expected. Hopefully it is a little bit more stable now, and we can go and build some vehicles. We are going today to try and build a legendary FailRace car, and that is the V8 Saxo. Now, for those of you that don't understand why this is a thing, it started off with a Citroen Saxo on Enthusia that beat cars that it shouldn't have been beating. It was beating just about everything. And then when I played Production Line, a game about building a car factory, you build a hatchback on there that has a V8 engine as a, well, I say as an option. So their generic picture for an engine is a V8, so it looked like they were putting V8 engines into a hatchback. So the V8 Saxo was born because of those two things, and I'm going to try and build one on here. We're going to what estate cars do they have? Sorry, we're going to have a. I was going to have a look through all the different body styles. None at the moment. Okay, there's an option there that makes you hope that there will be some. There isn't any at the moment. Right. Hatchbacks. These are our options in terms of hatchback. Well, we're not going to use the 95 box. Or the 95 hatchback's a bit too tall, really. That's more of a sort of saloon car hatchback sort of a thing. So that's out of the question as well. And the 80s hatchback is a lot more like an early, I was going to say an early Civic, but also the early, is it the City Turbo, like the key car kind of a style thing? Or we have this 2000 hatchback that is probably the closest of the lots. Yeah, we'll go with that, I think. It's kind of a late. We'll go for a late model. A late model. V8 Saxo there. Right. So panel material. What are we going to use? Now we're going to try and make this car relatively light, but relatively affordable as well. I'm not going to go for carbon fiber bodywork on it. I could. We're not going to though on this. I'm guessing corrosion-resistant steel would probably be the way to go. Now all of this kind of UI in here has changed from the kind of basic. You can still play the older version of the game if you want. When you fire up automation, gives you an option whether to go to the older version or whether to go into this version. So yeah, you've got these different sort of things for the UI. Plus means it is an increase. So for example, plus means an increase. If it's a dot, it means it's default essentially. So safety is a little bit higher, corrosion is default, engineering is default, production units is a little bit longer than if it is something else. For example, with the standard steel, corrosion is considerably worse, but it is cheaper to make. Something like carbon fiber, for example, is a lot more in the way of engineering time, better sort of corrosion resistance, but a hell of a lot more expensive, a hell of a lot more time to make, but much lighter, and so on and so forth. Chassis type, we can go for a ladder chassis, a monocoque chassis, or a space frame chassis. I don't think we'll go for a space frame. I think we'll go with a monocoque chassis. We don't kind of want to go for the complete and utter basic things. Chassis material. We can go. So if we go for, I don't think we're not going to have carbon fiber chassis or aluminium. AHS steel is a little bit safer, a little bit more expensive, a bit more corrosion resistance. We will, I think, yeah, let's go with AHS steel. Engine, we can go for, I think we're going to probably want front longitudinal. Oh, do we make a V8 front-wheel drive? I'm not sure we want a V8 front-wheel drive car. Let's go for front longitudinal. Actually, no, we're going to have a fairly small V8 in this. It's not going to be like a 7-litre Hemi inside this. It's going to be a fairly small. I want to make a fairly small, fairly high revving V8. We're going to go for a little bit of a sporty suspension. We're not quite going to go for push rod suspension, but we'll go with some nice double wishbone suspension. You can actually also see all of the suspension as well now with this update. So if you go for well, you can see with the leaf springs, trailing arms, and so on and so forth. It's very, very detailed. You have some multi-link suspension in there. It's very, very detailed indeed in here. We're not going to have push rod. Very, very expensive. While very good, very sporty and so on. Very, very expensive. So let's go for double wishbone. And I think it takes up space in the boot as well, which is something that if you're trying to build a family car, for example, is something, because as I said, load capacity. There we go. That takes away... actually, no, that's slightly better in terms of load capacity. I'd be surprised, seeing as the, well, suspension bits are in the boot. Anyway, I digress. Let's stick with double wishbones all around. That is the body shell that we have gone for. I think this is kind of like the default hatchback from automation, pretty much, if I remember rightly. Now, we can kind of drag and pull things about slightly. I'm never very good. I see people do incredible things with cars on here, and I'm never quite sure how on earth they've done it, because I'm never very good at doing too much. Oh, that's a very weird rear bit. No, don't like it. I just want a smoother back to this car. There's not really much I can do about that. We can kind of have it... oh, no, chassis sticking out of that. Whoops. No, we want to at least hide the chassis away. I don't quite like the way that's kind of... It's like the old hideous Megans. God, dear. You'll know the generation of Megan I'm talking about. I think that's close enough for me. Yeah, I'll have to do. I'll have to try and make things look better with the help of the help of other bits and pieces. Colours. Yes, we can have the entire car in carbon fibre. Oh, that's a little bit too far zoomed in. All of that carbon fibre-y goodness. We can chrome the entire car, or we can DeLorean the entire car. We can have it plastic. Now, I think we'll stick with paint. These are kind of all the whoopsie daisy. I wasn't meaning to do that. No, I do want to go forward. To be fair, I'm actually not too displeased at that resetting, because I think it looks better from the standard thing than the horrible mess that I made. I'll just pull that front in a touch. Put that down a little bit there. And now I've got back to this panel. We want to click on that button. I remember what I'm doing here. You can choose from these already pre-made ones, or if we go into modify, you can have any colour under the sun. So we will, of course, naturally go for a nice orange, I am thinking. Maybe we want to go a little bit more back that way. Oops, that's slightly too far. Come on, come back. That's what we want. We want a kind of an orangey colour on our vehicle. That sort of an orangey colour looks good to me. Will that now update itself if we go save? There we go. That's the ticket. That's the colour you want your FailRace Industries V8 Saxo in. Perfect. Now gets into the bit that you can spend hours on. Got it, literally, you can spend hours on this bit. Putting down, choosing the headlights, putting on the headlights, and so on and so forth. These look like R2-D2, so I'm already keen on the R2-D2 headlights. It's probably not going like this. It's not the greatest body sort of shell to start working with. Can we have these in? Oh God, can we have these a little bit twisted? It's kind of in the bonnet. I'm not sure we want them there, to be honest with you. I think we kind of want headlights to go there. I'm now, yeah, I want the R2-D2 lights. just because of that. No other particular reason. It's okay. They're okay. I think we can make it look. Can we have custom exhaust tips on? Oh, okay, we can. So I got distracted. There's been a couple of updates since I last played this, and now you can actually put on custom exhaust tips. Oh, shall we go for like Callaway Sledgehammer style exhaust? Hold on, I've got distracted. This is not the audio supposed to be doing things in. However, can we have? Yep, this is totally how I design my cars, with just randomly jump around doing things. I'm not even sure this is in the middle very well. It works. It better get lots of power. It better get lots of power to make it worthwhile. Okay, headlights, I think we are done with. I don't think we need to worry about anything more on there. Indicators, we've got to get a little one of these on the side. Do we want that one, or do we... Well, I don't think we want that one, actually. Do we want one of these? I'm sure I like any of them, actually. Maybe I don't know, I kind of want a smaller one. Something like that, that'll work. That will work there. Perfect. Right, the grille, the all-important grille. Do we go for a happy smiling? Look at how happy it is. It is almost happier than an MX-5. That looks a little bit terrifying. I'll just go for a full-on... It's kind of a bit of a Mazda 3, actually. It does kind of look more like a Mazda 3 than anything else. Maybe not go for the happy smiley face. Is a little bit on that. Maybe we go for like a slightly lesser happy smiley face. Like kind of along those lines, but slightly less. I was going to try and have it sort of higher up. Maybe if we have this grille along the bottom... It's still it's just kind of how I end up building my cars on here. They all end up having giant, gopping, grinning faces. Then we go for we can have like vents, like little vents in the corner potentially. Now it really does look like a face. We can have those down there, and I want, I guess, another just sort of general vent, and we can make that a bit smaller. Unfortunately, I think the way it's going to curve around there, it's always going to look quite odd. Maybe not that one. Maybe go for a thinner sort of event, something like that, maybe. We can kind of stretch that out across there, potentially. No, I'm not sure about that at all. It's the way that the front of this car is shaped is very difficult to do much. I am sure there are people out there, by the way, who are far better than I when it comes... Oh, we've got to give it a nose now. Yeah, I'm sure there are people out there who are capable of making this look good. My brain is really struggling to know what to do with that front. Very, very difficult to deal with that particular shape, I am finding at least. Maybe we'll come back to it. Wing, can we get a mighty wing? Wings, I haven't had great experience with getting it to really work very well on here. It kind of doesn't, basically. Kind of, what even is that? It's kind of too keen to wrap itself around the car. It doesn't really work for a wing, so we're going to ignore the wing for now. We will be needing a fuel cap of some sort. That can go over there. Door handles, of course, the all-important door handles. Let's get some of these around the place. One there. Oh, no, we're going to click off of that to get the next one in. One there as well. Perfect. It'll do. And then mirrors. Now, last time I played this, the mirrors would, yeah. So, unfortunately, while, yes, it is very cool to be able to place wing mirrors, so if you want to, you know, make a car with the mirrors, well, you know, actually down on the wings, or you can place them wherever you like. You can have some antennas in the middle of the car, and so on. However, you can't get rid of the standard ones. As far as I know, there might be a way, but I haven't found one, and I can't click on them to select them and remove them. So a little bit of a pain. Little bit of a pain. There might be a way. I might be being a doofus, but yeah. We can get aerials. Can we get like a giant... no, I don't want that. I was hoping to get like a giant aerial to make it look like a remote control car. But I'm just basically not going to let me have a giant aerial to make it look like a remote control car. Somehow. What happens if we go... Ooh, oh no, maybe that's not going... That's kind of... It's kind of... Oh, he sort of melted it. Maybe not. Well, that's going to have to do. So unfortunately, you can't go have a giant aerial on the top of your car. I'm being a bit silly. License plates. That's something we can put at the front, I guess. We can have a license. The license plate kind of gets indented into the front. That's a bit peculiar. That's a very bit peculiar. Well, we've kind of got a nose on our car now. It's hideous. It is completely and utterly god-awfully hideous. Let's go and make a decent-sized number plate at the back. I haven't actually... Oh, didn't mean to do that. I'm an idiot. It does kind of auto-snap itself to the middle. You'll kind of see it... I'm trying to sort of show it as we drag it across. It will kind of jump to the midpoint, which makes it easier if you want to be lining up stuff properly, which is always nice. We can have a badge around the place. Oh, we got 3 options for badges. Shall we go for a circle badge? That can sit up there, and that can... I'm not sure I want the FailRace Industries badge necessarily on this car, just yet at least. When it's got the engine in, you might forgo the... Well, that. I guess we could probably do something at the back, couldn't we? We'll go for... Shall we go for some sort of like little vents in the... Shall we go for some hideous little vents in the corners of the... corners of the car? No, not liking them. Not liking them at all. Or maybe go for some slightly... It's just trying to give the car something around here. Can we... I want them to be facing the other way, possibly. We'll see what that looks like. Because yeah, otherwise it's just a little bit bland at the back. I'm not sure about going for these particularly. If we make them a touch larger, maybe? Again, yeah, just trying to give the car sort of something going on. And then maybe we will get a... like a very, very thin little vent going across above there. Now it kind of looks like it should be a rear-engine car, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Oh, we haven't done tail lights, have we? Tail lights. That's another important thing that we will be needing. We don't have R2-D2 tail lights, Sad day. Sad day indeed. There's no different variations of them, or slight different variations of those. Not that I particularly like them ones. I guess these ones, possibly? No, don't like them either. What else have we got? Nope. No. Not a fan of any of these so far. I guess we could go for... we could go for some... such a hideous vehicle. We could go for some of... They are not good taillights. This is not the easiest body shape to work with. I'm going to be brutally honest here. If we stick them on there, and then if we have like little indicator lights below that, like so, perhaps. It'll do. Such a derpy looking car. I think they're average. Are they supposed to be indicators inside those ones? I don't quite know where the reverse light would be on this. Maybe we will pretend. Have we got a thing that we can pretend? We will pretend that you are... Can I pretend that you are like a reverse light or something on the back of this car? See, that one there looks like it has got it. Better idea. Let's get rid of those. You can go up there. We'll get you a little bit bigger. So these do actually look like they might have a reversing light of sorts on them. And then we will grab a separate indicator to go below that. I think we're on the outside, don't we? Sure. It's a hideous abomination. But if it is a good driving car, that's kind of the important bit. V-engine. We've got a couple of options in terms of V-engines. You could go for an inline six, but of course that would not be in keeping with our current vehicle. We've got a 60-degree V-engines. You can have a 6, 8, or 12, or you could have a 90-degree V-engine with a 6, 8, or 10. We'll go with a 90-degree V8, sorry. I'm hoping that this will all fit inside the vehicle. Now, block material, cast iron, aluminium, ASI or magnesium. We're not going to be affording magnesium. I think we might go for an aluminium block. We're trying to make this as... we want to make it sporty, but we also want to make it vaguely affordable as well. So we won't go crazy on that. And now I want a high revving engine, so we'll go for a shorter stroke. A 3-litre V8 sounds like a fun sort of a thing for me. We're going to try and keep it naturally aspirated as well. So, yeah, that should... we're not going for like 500-600 horsepower in our car. We're kind of, well, if we can happen to get it, then great. But we want maximum RPM as pluses if we can, I think. So dual overhead cam works for me. We want, more RPMs that we can get, the better. But perhaps we go for 4 valves again. Try and keep engineering time and price down and so on. We want for an aluminium block. We may as well go for an aluminium head as well. Yep, we will have some variable valve lift on there. It does add, it's a little bit of extra cost and a little bit more extra sort of time and so on, but it should help with general running of the car. Now, one of these can give us as much RPM as possible. So billet steel flat plane or billet steel. Forged steel is also a good option in terms of production units. Is actually slightly more expensive than billet steel, so we'll go with that. I don't actually know what the difference is between that and flat plane is cheaper, but cheaper and lighter. Sure, you know what, we'll go with flat plane then. Okay. Con rods, we need RPM enabling stuff. Maybe not quite titanium con rods. Maybe we'll go for I-beam. I-beam steel, and for our pistons, again, we want RPM. Anything that can give us RPM. So lightweight forged. Lightweight forged is a slightly negative effect on the emissions, and it's not quite so good for torque as normal forged, but we'll go for that. I say we go for a vaguely affordable one, and we've got sort of... it might end up changing. It tends to be how I work with things, everything. We will come back and fiddle around with all of this later on. I said I want it to be naturally aspirated. Of course, it's going to be injection, direct injection. Oh god, throttle per cylinder is expensive. I say sorry, not expensive. That's max power. Ignore me. For a second, I thought the top one was price, and that was a big old jump. Max power is at 2,800. That's at 800. That's yeah, sure. Let's go for 3,000 horsepower almost in our. In our vehicle. We're not quite a full-on race car in this, let's not forget. Premium 95 RON is what you would expect to see sort of normal petrol station. So that is what it's going to be run on. Again, I'll come back and fiddle with all of this. So exhaust, we can have well, sort of your standard one. It's not quite going to be a full-on race. I love the knot of the race exhaust. It's an incredible work of art. Some of the race exhausts that go on cars, that sort of a thing. We can have a long tubular. We can just have a sort of normal tubular. There we go. I can English. It reckons the max power of this is 438. Again, I'm not sure that we're going to see much more than 438 horsepower. We'll go with a dual exhaust. Actually, how was it working with a single? Was it... right, so it all sort of feeds into one further down. I was going to say, where on earth was it feeding into one? But no, we'll go with dual exhaust. Hell, we can go with 4 exhausts, you know. We should be going with 4 exhausts, really. We've got the space there. Catalytic converter, let's go for a high flow one. We should probably go for some sort of... noise cancelling thing, otherwise this would deafen... that one. English words are failing me, as per normal. Right. Okay. So with just all the standard stuff, it actually gets 221 horsepower, which is pretty good for a hot hatch. You know, let's not forget, we're kind of going up against hot hatches here. 221 horsepower is not bad going. I was hoping it has a fuel efficiency percentage, but I'd like to see... the actual miles a gallon. I don't think we're going to be getting that. Shall we go and have a little play around then with sort of stuff here? Now we can bring up the compression slightly, not so much that it causes any issues. Oh, we've got to bring up the rev limiter. Whereabouts is the rev limiter on here? I will remember eventually. Is it further down? Oh, there it is. Okay. We should be able to rev a lot higher. There we go. 7,500 RPM. That sounds like my sort of fun. That will work for me. 7,500. So what's this? Old... and this new performance... Okay, so maybe because we're just peaking ever so slightly... we want it to get to about there. Okay, so it will rev to 7,800 RPM, and nothing breaks in it. Nothing breaks in it at all, which is what we like to see. It's not too terrible in terms of torque either. Now, I guess if we kind of start doing... We got like a 300... Okay, that's a little bit too much. A little bit too much. Bring it down. Try and make as many things green as possible. Let's not go too crazy in terms of the... Oh, yeah, I still want to try and keep some form of fuel efficiency. If we get 300, we are going to get 300 horsepower with required cooling. I think we've got enough cooling going on in our car. Yeah, the fuel efficiency has gone down a smidge. has gone down a smidge. Can we get it up any more? I guess we're kind of lowering this to to an acceptable level. We get it back to 18%. Without actually costing us anything in terms of... Gives us a little bit less low-end power, but it does give us a tad bit more efficiency. Smoothness is, again, I think this is a percentage, 70% smooth. Don't really know. Don't really know on that one. I could make it crazier, but... We're going to go for drivable. We're going to go for drivable, and 300 horsepower is actually pretty good going. We have now got various things, so everything is at fairly decent enough stress levels, so we can actually go for a bit of a manual test of our of our engine. When you give me a power slider to play around with, it's quite good fun. It's quite good fun. I have to actually say, from the brief bit of playing around I've done, how you build your engine, the sound is quite distinctive of them, which is quite good fun. I did, again, when I very briefly played this, I did get some engine that was managing to backfire an awful lot. This one here, I'm not sure we can. Nope, doesn't want to do any popping and banging, but you can certainly play around a lot with the engines and get them to do all sorts of different things. I'm actually relatively pleased with that engine. It's not too ludicrous, but it is going to give this car a serious turn of pace. Just don't look at the... When you're inside, it'll be fine. You know what? This is probably the best angle to look at it. There we go. Okay, drivetrain. Let's go for rear-wheel drive. That's what I said I wanted to do. I wanted to go for a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Gearbox, got to be a manual, of course. We'll go with a 6-speed manual box. Top end, let's go. We'll have the gear ratio set for 155 for now. We'll change that later on. Differential, we are going to want probably a limited slip diff of some description. It gives us a bit more drivability, a bit more sportiness, a bit more tameness. Okay, it's not quite as good as an electronic diff, but it is considerably cheaper. So we've got to try and save some money somewhere in this. Tyres, let's go for, we're going to want, of course, decent. So I'm kind of surprised that semi-slicks make it less drivable. I would have thought, well, I guess it makes it less drivable in wet conditions, for example, but I would have thought they'd made it better grip in general. We'll go with medium compound tyres because, you know, it's going to be driven on the roads. We are going to, oh crap, did I do the derpy thing of, I did, the derpy thing of not letting, can't get any bigger tyre widths. Oh, please don't be able to go back and do this. Oopsie. I don't think I can. Where was it in? It was in here, at the very start of this, where it's not going to let me pull the body out, is it? Crap, because I've already got stuff on it. Ooh, I've just caught with sort of... there we go. We can pull the body out ever so slightly because we need to get some bigger tyres than 165s on this. For 300 horsepower, 165s are not going to cut it. That would be a death trap. We have thankfully got that away. Somebody tried to sneakily install some wing mirrors at the bottom of my car for a laugh. I blame the intern. Some design intern wondered if I would notice that they hid... God damn it, they're going to be fired from FailRace Industries, that is for sure. Anyway, I digress. We were supposed to be on tyres. Can we have bigger tyres now? Only 215s at the front. I would still like bigger tyres than that. I definitely want bigger tyres than that. I don't want to have like the wheel arches too ridiculously sticky out, because it just looks silly, but I also actually want the car, you know, to be drivable. So I guess it's going to have sticky out wheel arches. Back to here. Whoop. All the way, that's more like it. Still not really getting the rear tyre width that I need from the vehicle, so I guess that is going to have to just be on the crazy side. It's not a pretty car, but there we go, 265 at the back. 265 at the back and 245 at the front. Sounds like a relatively okay tyre width. It's really not a pretty car. But if it is blindingly quick, that might make up for it. I guess we want some alloy wheels on our vehicle. Next, brakes. We're going to want some... We're going to definitely want some vented discs. Do we want carbon ceramic? I mean, they're going to be better, of course, but cost a lot more, I would imagine. No, that actually tells me a price on these. We are going to want some pretty sizable brakes. Let's face it. When you're trying to slow down all of this ludicrous speed, and again, vented discs. You need slightly smaller brakes at the back. A lot of the braking force is done through the front wheels, of course. Weight transfer to the front of the car means that most of it is done there. We'll go with slightly sort of stronger, sportier brake pads, and we'll maybe just leave the bias. I don't want to change around too much with stuff that I don't really know. Under tray, do we need anything on here? I guess we'll go for like a semi-clad under tray. We won't go for active wings and so on. Right, cooling airflow. Required cooling 240. We have actually got 380. So if we were to drop this down to, let's say 280, and then we can give 40 that way, we should be in the positive. Yeah, that gives us 3. I might just give it a little bit more margin for error. Now, of course, the more that we drop this cooling down, the less drag we have, so the better it is for fuel efficiency. And as it says here, the better it is for higher top speed. But you need to make sure you have enough to cover off the engine cooling. So that is why I have done that. And then we are just on to the interior. Sure, we'll go for 5 seats. We'll go for 5 seats in the FailRace Industries V8 hideous box. We are going to want... I mean, we want it to stay relatively light. We're not going to have hand mode. We're not going to have luxury. We could go for sport. I think we'll just go for premium in the end. Standard is better for production units, of course. We'll make it a bit nice inside, you know. We'll make it a bit nice. I'm not going to worry about bothering about the quality sliders either. It's a quick way to add a huge amount of money. I could have a luxury HUD if we if we want. Shall we go for premium? We'll go for premium in infotainment. There we go. Power steering. Variable hydraulic. Right, let's have a look at... Have we got sportiness as a... No, I haven't got sportiness as a category. We have got... I guess we'll go for variable hydraulic. It's better drivability than electric. Sure. Oh, God, we can have traction. We can have many... No. No one shall have traction aids in the in the Saxo. And safety, well, we'll make it safe. If we're not going to give you traction control, at least we'll make the car strong, and we'll give you plenty of airbags. Although it should be more worried about the people outside looking at it than for the people inside it. Right, suspension. Fun times. We want something that is sporty. We want something that is as sporty as possible. I don't necessarily want active sport. It's very expensive. Although then again, I guess you could have standard that's 21, but that's not exactly great for sporty. Or we could have active sport that's 700. Bugger it. Again, anything plus we'll go for adaptive dampers. Apparently this is a pony car. Family sport is the correct area for it. That's where I would want to see let's face it, this sort of a vehicle. Drivability is 90%, sportiness is 89%. It is, I guess, I'm actually not quite sure what that graph is showing. Braking versus I'm not 100% sure on these graphs. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a huge amount of downforce on this car. Apparently, it will get up to the 155 mile an hour mark. Gearing, top speed 154. So it does actually run out of gears. It does 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. For a rear-wheel drive car, it's not too shabby, actually. It's not too shabby. I mean, you see a ludicrous accelerations from the likes of the Focus RS, but it is all-wheel drive. So, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how, your rate steering angle. So is this the more you turn the steer angle, it starts to lean towards understeer until you... Oh, is this... Alright, maybe this is how fast you're... So this is how fast you're going along the bottom. When you then go and yank the steering wheel at 50 miles an hour, you get a lot of understeer? Possibly. And then there's some suspension. There's a lot of graphs. If you like graphs, this is the game for you. There's a lot of graphs. Lots and lots of graphs. High-speed steering, we get quite a lot of understeer from the from the vehicle is what I am getting at. So you'll understeer into a wall rather than spin. I mean, it does 18 miles to the gallon, which is... Okay, so that mark was miles to the gallon rather than an 18%. Sure, material costs at 10,000 is probably quite a bit more expensive than I would like, but sportiness value is good and everything. Shall we make it a little bit lower? I mean, all of these things here can change. Of course, this sort of, you can tune the car, so you want to give it some more camber at the rear, for example, and that live, yeah, it will live change the graph. So was it what, 995? Oh, so that actually gave it a bit more drivability. So if we then go up all the way down to 2.5, so that gives it considerable better drivability, but it'll probably have affected some of the other things. Oh, that's 9. So we don't want that. Go. Well, it's changing sportiness. It's trying to balance sportiness and drivability. Oh, there's a huge amount of depth, as you would imagine, with this game. 81% competitiveness in the family sport market. Shall we? There we go. So it does actually top out at 155 miles an hour. Pretty good. Pretty good indeed for this vehicle. Relatively safe. Relatively safe. Not so good on the old economy. Not so good on the old economy front. But you want a 300 horsepower rear-wheel drive hatchback, then you gotta pay a price somewhere. Shall we go and send it around the test track? Do we have the old Top Gear test track as an option? They used to have like the pretend. Oh, it's very, very noisy. A pretend Top Gear track, so you had at least something to compare it to. But now we do not, apparently. I mean, it's pulling like almost 1G through the corners, which is not too bad going. I'm clicking buttons and I don't quite know what they're going to do. Yeah, I mean, it's holding almost 1G around some of these corners. It's not exactly Formula 1 levels of performance. Sorry, I managed to knock my microphone there. Hopefully that won't have come through. But yeah, I'm not too displeased with that. Shush. This game is absurdly noisy. So shall we just go play it at 5 times speed? Is it going to restart? Oh god, that sounds horrendous. Let's not do that. Let's have a look at detailed stats. It is apparently minus in handling and brakes, plus in the steering and suspension things. The torque curve is good, but the engine responsiveness is not so good because kind of went for various bits and pieces. It was saying good. Or is it bad in here? I think I might have forgotten something in the brakes. I don't actually remember setting up the pad type in terms of the brakes. Was there an option? I guess pad type could be better in terms of sportiness, but then it'll be less comfort. So then if we now leave it that and we go over here to detailed stats, that's even worse for sportiness. It's that fun balancing act of trying to get everything to be, well, in the way that you want. Apparently, we're relatively practical. 65. We're not very good for utility because we're not very good. Well, let's face it, we're not exactly designed to carry cargo, and we're terrible off-road, as you would expect. But there we go. That is the V8 Saxo. It is a relatively good. Nobody wants it at all in. It's probably not safe enough for our canner, but in Gasmere, whatever. It is a good option for a family sport car. It's fairly affordable. It's fairly desirable. It's a fairly good choice there. We've built. I mean, it's hideous. Not that anybody would ever want to be seen driving it, but it might be a fun. I think it would be quite an entertaining drive, to say the least. If it is. Doing 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, top speed 155. There we go. The the V8 Saxo is built. It's an interesting thing. I think from that angle there is the best angle to be looking at it. Thank you very much all for watching. I'm probably going to do a bit more automation. Quite liking this game indeed. It is, while I haven't built a pretty car, this the Unreal Engine update and so on, it does look a very, very impressive game. Yeah, that'll be it from me though for today. Thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.